The Arambai Tengol Group, a collection of Meitei militant organizations, has become one of the most influential and controversial forces in the ongoing turmoil in Manipur. A complex and volatile region, Manipur has long been a battleground for ethnic, political, and territorial disputes, particularly between the Meitei Majority Valley and the various indigenous tribal communities in the surrounding hill districts. The Arambai Tengol Group is an integral part of this conflict, and its growing prominence is reflective of the increasing militarization and politicization of the Meitei cause. Operating under the banner of Meitei supremacy, the group is committed to asserting Meitei dominance not only in the valley, but also in the predominantly Naga and Kuki majority hill districts of the state. This aim of territorial and political expansion has fueled significant unrest, sparking violent clashes, insurgency, and instability that continue to destabilize the region. Farkis, origins and composition of Arambai Tengol. The Arambai Tengol Group is primarily composed of Meitei militants, some of whom have split from larger insurgent groups like the People's Liberation Army, PLA, and the United National Liberation Front, UNLF. These militants share a common ideology: to achieve greater political and cultural dominance for the Meitei community, especially over the ethnic minorities in the hills of Manipur, such as the Nagas and Kukis. They also share a historical grievance against the Indian state, which they believe has marginalized the Meitei community and neglected their political aspirations. The name Arambai Tengol itself symbolizes a warrior-like spirit, invoking imagery of fierce resistance and defiance against outside forces, particularly the state and ethnic groups they consider adversarial. The group's formation can be seen as a response to the shifting political landscape in Manipur, especially after the rise of the Naga and Kuki militancy in the region. These groups have, over time, sought greater autonomy, often pushing for self-determination or even secession. Faced with the threat of losing influence in the hills, the Meitei-led insurgent groups like Arambai Tengol have intensified their efforts to reclaim and maintain dominance in these areas. However, their violent and aggressive methods have drawn the ire of the tribal communities, further exacerbating the ethnic and territorial divide in the state. Davris, political influence and alleged control over the Baron government. The political landscape in Manipur is deeply influenced by a web of alliances and rivalries, many of which involve the state's insurgent groups. The Arambai Tengol Group is believed to have developed close ties with the Baron government, which is headed by a Meitei political leadership. In recent years, reports suggest that the group has managed to exert significant influence over the administration. Despite their status as an illegal and militant organization, Arambai Tengol has found a degree of protection and even indirect support from political leaders within the Baron government. The group's political support comes through both covert and overt channels. One key example of this is the way the Baron government has reportedly turned a blind eye to the group's activities. The government, while publicly condemning insurgency, has allegedly failed to take decisive action against Arambai Tengol, thus enabling them to operate with relative impunity. Moreover, the political leadership of the state is said to have tacitly endorsed the group's aims, which align with their own interests in maintaining Meitei political supremacy in the region. In some instances, the government's lack of action and even encouragement has been linked to the growing militarization of Meitei political factions. Local government officials are rumored to have used the group as a proxy to control the situation in the hills and to counterbalance the influence of the Naga and Kuki militias. This alleged relationship between Arambai Tengol and the Baron government has led to questions about the extent of the government's complicity in perpetuating the violence in the state. The sharing of resources and political protection has allowed Arambai Tengol to grow more powerful, further destabilizing an already tense and volatile region.
We started it. I personally started it.
Arms, ammunition, and state-sponsored support. One of the most concerning aspects of Arambai Tengol's rise is its access to sophisticated weaponry and ammunition. Over the past few years, it has been reported that the group has looted more than 10,000 firearms, including automatic rifles, assault rifles, and other heavy weaponry. Alongside this, they have also acquired over 1 million rounds of ammunition, significantly boosting their military capabilities. These weapons, which are typically obtained through both theft and smuggling, have been crucial to the group's ability to carry out sustained insurgency operations and clashes with rival groups. The central government has acknowledged that the state police forces in Manipur are under-equipped and have struggled to maintain law and order in the face of increasing militancy. However, reports have surfaced that instead of the firearms and ammunition being provided to the state police, these resources have been systematically diverted to Arambai Tengol. It is alleged that multiple shipments of weapons meant for the state's police forces were handed over to Mai-Tai insurgents under the guise of security operations. This diversion of state resources not only strengthens the insurgent group, but also undermines the legitimacy and authority of the state security forces. The role of the central government in this process is also questionable. While the Indian government has long been involved in anti-insurgency operations in the northeastern states, there are serious concerns about the efficacy of its strategies in Manipur. The diversion of arms to Arambai Tengol is a reflection of the complex and murky relationships between insurgent groups, state governments, and central authorities. Moreover, the ongoing violence and instability have made it difficult for the central government to impose control, allowing groups like Arambai Tengol to thrive. In addition to firearms, Arambai Tengol has also reportedly been given access to high-end state resources, including bulletproof vehicles. These vehicles, which are intended for use by state forces, have been shared with the militant group, providing them with enhanced mobility and protection. The use of these vehicles by the group enables them to carry out operations with greater efficiency and less risk, further enabling their insurgent activities. The fact that state forces are essentially sharing their resources with a militant group is a clear indication of the blurred lines between the state and insurgent factions in the region. Territorial ambitions and the Mai-Tai agenda. At the heart of Arambai Tengol's agenda is the goal of establishing Mai-Tai hegemony in the hill districts of Manipur. Historically, the Mai-Tai community has been dominant in the valley, but the tribal communities of the hills, especially the Naga and Kuki peoples, have maintained their autonomy and distinct cultural identities. The rise of Naga and Kuki insurgencies in the past few decades has been met with increasing resistance from the Mai-Tai leadership, who fear that the political power in the state will slip from their hands. Arambai Tengol's efforts to assert control over the hills are seen as part of a larger strategy to consolidate Mai-Tai power and neutralize the tribal populations. In their view, the hills should be integrated into the broader Mai-Tai political framework, even if that means undermining or displacing the tribal groups who have historically lived there. This vision of Mai-Tai dominance has led to violent clashes, particularly with the Kuki and Naga groups, who are resisting what they perceive as an encroachment on their autonomy and territorial integrity. The goal of Mai-Tai dominance over the hills is also linked to the desire for greater political and economic control of the state. The hill districts are rich in resources, including valuable timber, minerals, and land. Control over these areas would not only strengthen the political power of the Mai-Tai community, but also provide them with economic leverage. As a result, the Arambai Tengol group has engaged in a campaign of terror against tribal communities, including targeted attacks on their homes, businesses, and villages to force them into submission or to drive them out entirely. Consequences and implications for Manipur. The rise of the Arambai Tengol group, backed by state resources and political support, has had devastating consequences for Manipur. The violence between Mai-Tai insurgents and the tribal communities has resulted in countless deaths and displacement of civilians, further deepening ethnic and communal divisions. The Mai Tai agenda of territorial expansion is pushing the region toward further polarization, with little hope of reconciliation in sight. The continued flow of weapons and resources to Arambai Tengol, alongside the political complicity of the Baron government, has turned Manipur into a powder keg of insurgency, political manipulation, and ethnic strife. The central government faces the challenge of curbing the insurgency while addressing the underlying grievances of the ethnic communities in the region. Without meaningful dialogue and a genuine commitment to peace, the situation is likely to continue deteriorating. In conclusion, the Arambai Tengol group is a significant force in the current crisis in Manipur, benefiting from both state support and a militant agenda aimed at establishing Mai Tai dominance over the hills. The group's rise has been fueled by a combination of political manipulation, resource diversion, and militarization, resulting in widespread violence and instability. As long as the root causes of the conflict remain unaddressed, and as long as political and military powers continue to align with insurgent groups, the prospects for peace in Manipur remain grim. Please subscribe Zalengam Media for more video. Please share the video. Thank you very much for watching.